welcome to another fun-filled episode of the Maddfuzzy Podcast. As always, I am your sock-obsessed host, Marta, and I'm coming to you, as always, from Maine. If you are new to the podcast, hi, welcome. You can always check me out on Instagram. I'm at Maddfuzzy. This podcast does have a Ravelry group, so go over there and check it out, introduce yourself. It's been a hot minute since I have mentioned that introductions thread, so if you haven't, please do go check it out. This is a podcast all about my knitting life, so there'll be lots of knitted projects as well as a little bit about my yarn. I've got some new yarn going in the shop that I'm going to be happily showing you. If you're new, then you probably don't know about my shop, so I'll give a brief introduction on that. I am the owner and dyer of Maddfuzzy Yarns. It's a 100% Maine-made yarn. So my base is from Maine. I source the fleeces myself. I have them milled for me up in a Rustic at a tiny mini mill, one-man mini mill. He does all that for me. To my specifications, I don't order stock yarns from him. Sometimes I bring him fleeces from sheep he has never even heard of. So it is 100% made by me, kind of, except for his spinning. And then I get them back on cones. There's a cat here. The saga of kitten. I've decided to leave the door open. For any of you returning viewers who have heard of the saga of kitten, I have left the door open so that maybe we can have a little fun with kitten, but she's right here. Yeah, we'll give it a shot. We'll see how far this goes. Back to the milling and my yarn. Then I get them back on cones and I skein them myself and I dye them. Really, I try to be contemporary with my dyeing style. I really want to do a lot of speckles, a lot of variegateds. My business really came from a desire for a hard and long-wearing sock yarn that was indie dyed. So I was tired of knitting with merino and nylon and having my socks blow out in 6 months. So because I am your sock-obsessed host, I went ahead and developed my own sock line, which is made out of East Frisian yarn. It is really durable because it has a very long staple length. It's almost too long for my mill to process. He can only do staple lengths of 6 inches or less. So it's got a great staple length. It's really hard wearing. It is not the softest, but it is great on your feet. I've actually made a hat out of it recently that was not scratchy at all. I was very pleased with it. So yeah, there's a little bit about Maddfuzzy. If you're interested in checking out what I do have in my shop, it is linked down below where I put all of my show notes. All of that is in the description bar. If you ever have any questions about any of the things I'm showing you, just check out that description. If you're down there and you like what you're seeing so far, please do hit that subscribe button. It helps me kind of get, more known on the internet. And if you like the podcast, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. It makes me feel good. So, yeah. I have a bunch to talk about today. It's been about 3 weeks since my last podcast, so I have a bunch of knitting. I have just been sitting at home, knitting with friend, sitting on the couch, watching Avatar. This will be my 4th time seeing Avatar: The Last Airbender all the way through, but it's now on Netflix and I can't say no. So I've been getting a lot of knitting done watching it because I only have to half watch it since it's my 4th time through. So I got a lot to show you. And yeah, and then I've been spending what I haven't been spending on my couch, outside swimming and enjoying Maine. I've lived in Maine for about a decade now, but I have always worked my butt off in the summer. It is my busiest season. Whether I'm working on a farm, it's all the farmers markets. If I am at the bar has double the staff, so I'm there twice as much. So I don't really ever get to enjoy Maine, and I guess thanks coronavirus, I am enjoying Maine in a really uncrowded way. Like, we'll be the only people at a state park, which is unheard of in the height of tourist season in Maine. It's just the locals. I am enjoying Maine. I am like retired, enjoying Maine, and it's our state. It's just us. I've been having a great time going swimming almost every day and camping. I went to Old Orchard Beach for the first time, but you're not here for my adventures in Maine. Well, maybe you are. I've also decided, because iTunes won't, or not iTunes, iMovie won't let me put still shots in anymore. I don't know what happened there. I have started taking videos with my iPhone. So I'm going to show you some videos later on in the podcast after we get through the knitting. I've got a lot of beautiful Maine scenery, things I've been up to. Jeff, who does the shearing for Fuzzy Udder, you've seen a couple of his shearings on this channel, he came and shorn the sheeps for the farm that I am currently living on. I'm living on a small farm in Hope, and I got some footage of that. He used the hand shears, which is always super cool. So I will put those in later on after the knitting segment as well. So there'll be a little bit about Maine and my life, because you guys had said you wanted to see more of that, as well as the sheep shearing that happened just the other day in my backyard. I mean, it'd be crazy not to film that, right? So I'm going to dive right in with my knitting. I have one finished object for you, and it is a pair of socks. I was not smart enough to grab my sock blockers, but oh well. They are an Opal pair, nice tall legs. I did a heel flap and gusset with my slip stitch heel, and they are either going to be for my box of socks or I'm going to be sending them to my mom. I haven't decided yet, but I'm in love with this. I bought all this Opal yarn on Etsy a little while ago, and I am just loving knitting with them. I did my traditional 64 stitches on, I believe, US 1, and they're just going to be another pair for the box of socks. I'm crushing the socks. Oh my goodness, my knitting projects are all the way over on the other side of the couch. Oh, and I have disturbed the kitten. She was just laying there nicely. Oh, she's sneaking off to go stare out the front door. We might be in luck. We might have a kitten-friendly episode. Hey! I'm moving on to my next segment, which would be works in progress, because I told you I had one finished object. I was hoping to have more, but I get easily sidetracked, especially when it's beautiful out. It is a gorgeous day today. It is definitely 10 degrees colder on the coast here than it is inland. Yesterday I drove to Waterville, which is inland, to hang out with a friend and to go swimming. And we left here, it was like 70. I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go swimming. 75 is my cutoff. Like when it's 75 degrees, I am getting in. I'm not getting in at 74. 75. So we get all the way to Waterville and it is like 10 degrees hotter. It is 85 degrees there. I was like, oh my God. So I had thought I was not going to swim. Was wrong. All right. Back to this. So I finished one of my, oh my goodness. Whoever sent me the comment about the sock yarn, you said you had it was like colors. You are correct. That is the answer. I'm going to have to look back and this color just like... This yarn, I can never remember, but I will link it in the description. You were right. Way to go, you. Also, thank you so much for commenting. I love it. I try to respond to all of them. You guys are the best. I'm so bummed that like all the knitting festivals are canceled this year. But at least I have you guys on my podcast. Thank you. You're so appreciated. All right, back to the sock. So I was going along with it, as you can see. I love the spiraling on this one. Spoiler, the second one does not look the same. I'll get into that. And I wanted to keep it kind of going, so I did Vanilla's the New Black heel, which is one of my favorite heels. It's this little triangular heel thing. It's got like ribbing so that it expands. It does fit really well. So I'd say this is the closest to my heel flap and gusset heel, which fits me the best. And this is Vanilla's the New Black. It is a paid for pattern, but it is so worth the money, because I like to switch it up once in a while. So it did change it a little bit, but I am very happy with these. The Vanilla's the New Black heel also makes the sock really long. I mean, there's where the end of my heel is. So it makes the sock really long, and I hadn't thought I was going to do it until I had reached the heel. So these are extra long. Yay. I do love long socks. I wear really high boots in the winter, so they get sucked down inside, so tall socks are the best. And I've just been sitting around kind of working on the other one. I've gotten this far on the second one, and the pooling is very different. I don't know what happened. This is really old yarn. The cake kind of exploded. Kitten got a hold of it, so there's like a lot of really weak spots. So I kept having to backtrack to like, I'd get to a weak spot and I'd have to like backtrack and break it and rejoin. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to be weaving in these many ends. It was driving me crazy. So what I ended up doing, and I'm really happy about it, I saw it on the Happy Knitting Podcast, which, by the way, I am 100% caught up on. Oh my God, I was so far behind. Christmas hadn't even happened in her world where I picked up. So I've been slowly going forward. I definitely knew about the baby because of Instagram, but it's so nice to hear it from her in the video. So I'm reliving all the happiness that came with that. So if you're out there, I don't know if she watches my podcast or not. Julia, congratulations. I am so happy for you and Kai. That is going to be the cutest baby and is going to be in the best knitwear ever. She is a knitting machine and actually one of my favorite and longest running podcasts that I've watched. I really highly recommend checking her out. There's just something relaxed about it. It's not a production. With me, I feel like this is kind of a production. With her, it's just a checking in, a saying hi. I can binge her episodes like nobody's business. She, believe it or not, does the dishes with me a lot. Doubt she knows that either, but if you haven't checked out the Happy Knitting Podcast, really recommend it. I also got all caught up on Chevyrell stuff. That is my absolute favorite podcast. That woman is hilarious. I hope Rhinebeck is happening this year. I don't know. I haven't heard. If you have heard if Rhinebeck is on or off, because all the people who are going to Rhinebeck, Chevy and the Corner of Craft, I haven't caught up to where they tell me that they're coming or not. So if you've heard if Rhinebeck is on, I plan on going this year. I'm going to just sleep in my car. It works, but it's too close not to. I'm on the East Coast. If Chevy is going to be there and Hannah of the Corner of the Craft is going to be there, I'm driving through the night. I've never met Hannah. This may be my only ever chance to meet her, and I have wanted to meet her so bad. Her and Chevy, oh, they're just so fun. They're just so fun. They're their personalities just shine through my TV, and I have to. So if you've heard if Rhinebeck is on or off, let me know down there in the comments. Anyway, back to the sock. So I'm watching the Happy Knitting Podcast, and she tells me about the, is it the cleft join? Oh, crap. It's a weaving joint, and I found a great video on YouTube by Boston Jen. So let's see. It is called the Clasp Weft join. There we go. There was a lot of yeah. And Jennifer of Boston Jen of Down Cellar Studios does a great video on how to do it. So I thought this would be a great time to try it out because it's a sock. And basically you're doubling it up. You make this little loopy thing. And so all you do is clip your ends. There's nothing to weave in. I liked it better than Magic Knot. So I tried it. And there was quite a few thin spots. I'd say maybe 3 or 4, which would have driven me crazy weaving in the ends. I hate weaving in ends on socks to begin with. I try to do as little as possible. So this might be a game changer for scrappy socks as well. Because you might not be able to see it. Let me get as close as I can. There's a joint right there. It's doubled, but you can hardly tell. I'm sold. I'm absolutely sold. I'm sharing the knowledge with you. You may have already heard of this, but that's a game changer. I'm going to share that game changer with you because if I tell my other friends, they think I'm crazy. You guys get it. Us crafty people, we get it. So, working on that. It's kind of my on the go. I just had to fish it out of my car. It's been at a lot of beaches. I'm not going to lie. And I just kind of sit in the sun and knit. Or my friend Lizzie likes to fish. She got really into it, and I'm not much of a fisher. So I'll sit on the bank and knit with her. I keep telling her that. All right, let's see what else we got. Okay. I had a day last week, or maybe a couple weeks ago, where I just went through my stash, I went through Ravelry, and I planned out projects and caked the balls and cast them all on. Because I had realized that and you guys had said it as well. Thank you again for all the comments on things I can do better about my podcast. They were really, really constructive and very, very helpful. So you had said you wanted a diversity of projects, not just the socks. You love the socks. I love the socks, but you're right. I need more things. So I went through and picked some things to work on. I'm going to show you the only other thing that you have seen. And then we will talk about the new stuff. Ooh. All right. So I've been getting a lot of work done on this, and I actually just ran out of a contrast color. But this weighs probably like 5 pounds. My wilderness sweater. Can you believe it? I just ran out of this teal blue. I'm going to head to Heavenly Yarns in Belfast. Great shop, by the way. And see if I can't pick out something exactly the same. Because it's Lettlopi, there should be this color. It's a great color. And I'm like 2 rows short. I do like 2 rows of like color work that like fades it in. Like down here, you see how it kind of like transitions in the middle of these diamonds. Sorry, these strings. They transition. So I have like these 2 rows of this transition before I go into these colors. So I'm going to buy a whole ball of yarn. Thank God it's cheap. For 2 rows. Because I really like this sweater. It fits. I did try it on because we had gotten to the point where I could try it on. It is a good length. It's got color work at the bottom. I had no problem attaching the sleeves. And I had a realization. So like a year ago to the day, I made that really cute baby sweater. And there was these loops underneath the armpit that I was supposed to put on waist yarn. And I was like, what do I do with these? I think I'm going to Kitchener them. Like I'm going to put them back on like 2 straight needles. I'm going to put the needles back on and then I'm going to Kitchener it with like the end. That's my evil plan. I think that actually is what I'm supposed to do. I doubt I'm like that genius, but I think that's what I'm going to do. And then it'll be a nice stitch in the bottom and I'll pick up a couple on either side. I'll make sure they're even because I need a little gapping, but it'll just make a really nice finished stitch down there, I think. But can you believe this? Huge freaking sweater. Weighs a ton and I am in love with it. I think I did so well on the color work. I definitely made my floats long enough. This is going to block out so nice. I am super excited about it. It's been slow going because, well, it is like 5 pounds of sweater. And today is in the 70s, but last week was in the 80s and 90s. All you people down south are like, oh, baby, in the 90s. We had the 90s in April. I don't do hot well. I got real thick blood. Stay warm all right. Once I get hot, I get completely brain dead. A little heat, and I'm like, I have no idea where I am. I can't make sentences. But I was working on that. And I love it. And it's gorgeous. And life is great. All right. So now to the new things. New things. Oh, so far over here. I'm sorry. Oh. Technical difficulties. I've lost my microphone. Bear with me. Please stand by. All right. Back. So new things. I had purchased some time ago at the Simply Socks Yarn Company. Yeah, when I went and stopped in Indiana, I actually went there. I fell in love with this skein of Hedgehog fibers. It's on her 90% merino wool, 10% nylon, and the colorway is Gossip. And it is so my color. And the yarn was so unsuited for socks. Like, I couldn't bear the thought of wearing through this pair of socks. And so I really needed something to make with this yarn that was not going to wear, that was going to showcase the yarn, because it is truly like all of my colors. So I decided I was going to make another slouchy hat. Like the same pattern as before, thinner yarn, smaller size. Yeah. Look at this. I am on the decreases. I was going to finish it last night and I got caught up in TikTok. Oops. I started watching Queer Eye and then I started watching TikTok, and both the knitting and the Queer Eye sort of faded into the background. But look at this color. Is it not like my spirit color? It is totally my spirit color. And it's going to make such a great hat. So I'm going to finish these decreases. I've got my Simply Serving. It's a jar of bread and butter pickles, and it's living there as my beginning of row marker. It's a big hat. You have to remember the brim like folds up. Oh, I'm so excited about it. So there was something new, and a hat will last. It looks good on me, like the colors around my face. So I think it was a good choice. Yeah, I might start doing other things with. I have like a huge collection of great sock yarn that I just won't make good socks. That's why I made Maddfuzzy, because I was tired of my sock. My yarn. Your yarn needs to match your project. It does. Now I have a hat. It's great. So there's that one. And all right. And now for my last work in progress. It has been 3 weeks, but I think the fact that you have not seen this and the size of it, you're gonna be really impressed with me. I've just been this next item is directly linked to binge watching Avatar. Directly linked. I cast this on. I've been wanting to cast this on for years. I think I have been talking about casting this on for years. I got the yarn for it. And I just was chicken. So when my friend Emily, who is my knitting friend Emily, who I'm going to see today in Belfast, we're going to get together and knit and sit on the harbor and whatnot. She came over and I made her talk me through German short rows for the sweater, because the back of the sweater has, it's higher in the back than it is in the front. Okay. Rewind. Pavement Sweater. Can you believe it? It's like nearly done with the body. I'm about ready to like separate for the hem. I finally cast it on. This is my on the round. Let's see, it's in my bag. This is On the Round, who is local to me. She's down in Rockland. She's amazing. You should check her out. She definitely does internet sales. This is her signature sock yarn. So it's 80% merino, 20% nylon in the colorway Plush. And I have 3 cakes of it. I think I'm going to be just fine. I still have this much of my 2 that I'm using right now. So I'm hopefully going to get through the entire body with those 2, and the sleeves will be that last color. I am alternating skeins. I am alternating them down the back. You can see there's a little bit of a ridge, but I think that is going to block out nicely. How I am doing my alternating skeins is like, I think some kind of weird hybrid. I know that there's like this jogless join and you like strangle the yarn around each other and then you like slip a stitch and whatnot. Well, I am skipping the slipping of the stitch thing, and I basically take the yarn I am working with and wrap it around the yarn that's going to be new, and I hold it at tension. I get my stitch the same, like I take a minute to make sure it's the same tension, and then I keep going. So when you look on the inside, here we go, inside, let's see how close I can get. You can see that it actually makes like this little chain down the back where I'm switching. So I'm liking it. I think it's not going to be that noticeable, especially once I block it out and it's on my body. Things I didn't do. Swatch. I didn't swatch. I guessed. I like seriously guessed. I counted the stitches when I was like doing the raglan increases, kind of just sort of a rough gauge. And my gauge was, believe it or not, tighter than what the pattern called for, which in my world is unheard of. I am the loosest knitter I know. I am always way, way off gauge. Everything turns out massive. Like the sweater, the wilderness sweater, fits me perfectly. It is 2 sizes too small. I went down a needle size and knit 2 sizes smaller than I should have. And it fits perfectly. So that's what I was thinking with this. And so I went down a needle size from what the pattern called for. And it says in the pattern to allow 5 inches of positive ease. And I wanted it tight. I didn't want any positive ease. So I actually am knitting I am knitting the size that is my exact measurements. I don't know. There was a lot of like debating, guessing, praying, and hoping. And I think the universe is going to let me wear this one. It looks spot on. I have yet to try it on. But it looks right. It looks like it's going to be a little bit big, but not 5 inches big. I'm very excited. This sweater is going to be amazing. So I've got like 3 more inches before I separate. I've been cruising on it. I love the yarn. It is so soft. It's so nice. I love the color, and I'm really loving this pattern. So as you can see in the back here, there's short rows on the, there we go, there's short rows. And instead of doing what the pattern said, I had Emily show me how to do, I know how to do German short rows. If you go way back to the German short row heel saga of 18, you know I know how to do a German short row. I just wasn't sure how to like apply it to a pattern that asked for something different. And she sort of did a little hand holding, but in the end, I figured it out. It turned out great. It was so much easier than I thought it would be. So yeah, I'm almost through my first pavement. I can't believe it. And I think the yarn is not pooling poorly. It is not like striping poorly. I am alternating skeins, but I am so excited for this sweater. I hope you are too. I should finish the wilderness one probably in the next couple of days. I'm going to Belfast today to get the yarn. Got a little scrap of it in my pocket. And I should work on that, and then we'll work on this. Hopefully finish a couple more sweaters. That was exciting. All right. Well, that is all that I am working on at the moment. I'm hoping to cast on a pair of mittens. I've got the yarn caked up for that. So hopefully in the next episode that'll be up. And yeah, just sort of knitting away, watching TV, trying to be outside as much as I possibly can. I am hoping when this goes live, I will also be sending out an e-newsletter as well as updating the shop with some new colors. So I do have an Etsy shop, link below if you want to check it out. And I'm going to put a couple new colors in the shop for you. This is on my BFL cross base. It's 100% BFL cross. So the sheep itself are BFL, I want to say Rami, a little bit of merino. They have a great fleece. However, they are raised for meat production. And so I get these fleeces from New Beat Farm and have them processed in a 2-ply DK. So this is a DK weight yarn. It is 100% wool, no nylon. And this is what I'm adding to the shop in as far as colors. I have an oldie but a goodie. Moonlight Dip is going up there. So I've got Moonlight Dip going in the shop. I did this one again. This one is Grand Canal. So I have Grand Canal going back into the shop for you. These are 2 new ones, which I'm pretty excited about. This one is called Squash Blossom. All right. And last but not least is Fresh Cut Lilacs. And it's a nice speckle with kind of an off-white as its base. So I got 4 new colors going in the shop. There are 4 of Grand Canal. If you wanted to make a Grand Canal sweater, there will be enough for that. There'll be 2 of all the other colors. Yeah, so add some new stuff to the shop. There is quite a bit still there if you want to check it out. I think I'm going to put up some more gradient sets as well, which are really fun. What I do is Jessie at Fuzzy Otter, she has a black and white sheep. Has black and white sheep, she has black sheep, and she has her pure white sheep. So what I end up doing is having the mill spin them separately, and I end up with a black, a gray, and a white, and I have them in, like, spun with nylon, so there's still a 20% Firestar nylon, and when I dye them, they become, the nylon takes up the color more than the black yarn does, for example, so there's this hue of that color, and it goes from a pure color to a muddled to like a flash of, And they're really gorgeous. They're 150 grams, 50 gram skeins of each of the colors. So keep an eye out. There will be a e-newsletter, an Instagram post, and and I'll put those up in the shop and check them out. I'll get them sent right out to you. Let me think. What else do I want to say? Oh yeah. So my next endeavor is very socks oriented. I have purchased or hoarded or both a ton of self-striping yarns. And I would like, I bought all those from Knit Picks, all that Felici. I just purchased 2 more skeins of self-striping yarn from Timber Yarns up in Canada. She had a camper colorway with a little camper progress keeper, and I couldn't say no. And then I found another one that was right up my alley, so I couldn't say no. I mean, they'd be really lonely shipping alone. I had to give it a buddy. So I have a ton of self-striping yarns coming. And I know of some patterns. Like Heel to Toe Do-Si-Do looks really good in a self-striping. The Geek Socks looks really good in a self-striping. And I want to do every single one of these self-striping yarns. I want to do a whole series of self-striping yarns. The only socks I'm making are self-striping in a different self-striping, in a different pattern that accents the self-striping. And I need your guys' help. So I am going to open a thread on Ravelry, or you can direct message me, or you can email me, or you can put it in the comments below. But if you know of a pattern that looks great in self-striping yarn, that really highlights the self-stripiness, send it along. I'm going to be trying it out. I'm going to try to do as many as I can. And then at the end, I am going to do a review of self-striping patterns and self-striping yarns. So it'll be a whole video for inspiration's sake on all the patterns that really do highlight and show you what a self-striping yarn can do. I need your help. Let me know if you've had any experience or you've seen it or whatnot. Just send it along, share it with me, just tag me, whatever you need to do to get that pattern to me. I am doing a review of the self-striping patterns, and I'm making them all, and I got all the self-striping yarns, and that is how we're going to be rocketing into fall. Self-striping and insane. Right. Hey, this wasn't so bad. Kitten, my friend gave her a bed, and she is in love with it. And so I think she's just happy to be over there in the window in her bed, checking it out, living the dream. I have one acquisition for today. This is directly plucked from the pages of the Chevyrell Podcast. I saw it there, and I couldn't say no. I need one on my wall, right up here. This is a big book. I thought it was a pamphlet when she put it up, because it seems like one of those things that would be in the aisles of Joanne, those really thin little pattern books. But no, this is a big freaking book. And it's got both written and charted crochet. I can read both, thanks to making all those Christmas ornaments. I do the snowflakes that you starch. I went a little crazy on those one year and made 200 of them for every coworker at Lee Nielsen. So I do read patterns. It's just been a long time since I've done it. And there is one in here that I am doing. I am making one for myself, and I am making one for my landlords for Christmas, because they're the best people in the entire world, and they deserve the best. So I'll make one traditional one. She wanted it black. She wants a black one. And I'm going to do mine hot pink, because that's who I am. But, hello, isn't this cool? It's a ram. Yeah, I'm going to do the ram. Look at that. How freaking cool is that? So, hot pink for myself, and then I'm going to do black for her. I think I'm going to do it out of acrylic. We have places in Maine called Martins that have very cheap yarn, and Rennie's. So I think I'm just going to probably go Red Heart Saver on these, because it's easier to dust acrylic. They're going on a wall. So we're doing that, and I'm making it. I'm so excited. It's going to be so fun. I bought this on Amazon, by the way. It was not sent to me. I purchased it. I had to. Awesome. All right, let me think. I made myself a little listy list because I knew I was going to forget something, and I have. I wanted to mention, I just got like a message on Instagram. One of my longtime Instagram friends had started her own channel. So because a rising tide does raise all ships, I wanted to give her a little shout out on mine. She is the Time Weaver. And time is spelled like, oh, sorry, my nose itches. All this fuzz. Time is spelled like the plant. So Thyme Weaver. She has her channel on YouTube. She does her podcast in both Spanish and English, which, by the way, blows my mind. I can't even remember what I say from take to take, let alone trying to say the same thing in English and Spanish. I would totally leave something out. So props to you. I watched the English one, obviously. I do not speak Spanish, but she does very well. So if you are a Spanish speaker, you can do both. She's got a new challenge up. It's really cool. Just the one episode, so anyone who wants to get on the boat now, you don't have to do any back watching. Get on it. So yeah, Time Weaver. I'll also put a link down below so you can go straight to her channel from here. Told you about... Oh yeah, so I think that's it. I've completed my list. Awesome. Great. Man, it was good talking to you. It's been a hot minute. I am going to put in a few videos here of not only the sheep shearing, but some of the fun and shenanigans I have been getting up to here in Maine. So if you want to stick around and check those out, they're just short little videos I took on my phone, nothing crazy. I'll try to also include like a location where they are and whatnot. So I'm going to add those in now. Enjoy. This is basically all that I have for you today. A little bit of Maine fun, some new projects, some new yarn. If you're still here, thank you. You're the best. I hope you're a subscriber. I hope you've given me the thumbs up. Hope you commented below. And yeah, let me know about those self-striping patterns. And I am going to go to Belfast today and get some more yarn, hang out with Emily, my knitty friend, and sit on the harbor walk overlooking the ocean and talk about yarn. A lot of yarn. It's great. I love knitting, friends. Also, let me know if you know anything about Rhinebeck, because I would like to go if it's happening. I don't know if it is. Common Ground Fair was canceled. Common Ground Fair. It's going to be the weirdest summer ever. Oh well. I haven't heard when I'm going back to work. I texted my boss the other day and asked him, and he said, no idea. So, eventually I'm going to have to figure out whether I want to find a new job or I want to stop receiving money from the government. Because it's going to run out. I've been unemployed for longer now than I have ever been in my entire life. This is the weirdest thing ever. I feel like I have been going on a crazy roller coaster. Like emotionally, I wake up really sad some days. And I this is not normal for me. I've never, thank goodness, I have never struggled with depression or mental illness. But it's starting to creep. It's really starting to creep in. And being single is hard right now. And I imagine being in a relationship and being quarantined together is hard. This is really hard. It's like I always wanted like an infinite amount of time to knit, but I did not expect what it would do to me emotionally to do quarantine. I'm really glad I have a pet. Thanks, kitten. Over there loving life. I'm probably just going to pick her up and squeeze her. Oh, she's such a sweet cat. Anyway, thanks for reaching out, guys, and whatnot. I'm hoping I can get myself out of this funk. I've been trying just doing something fun every day, something to look forward to, keeping my space clean, calling my friends, calling my family. But yeah, I hope you all are doing well. I hope this whole thing isn't getting you down. It's always so good to talk to you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful week. And as always, enjoy your knitting. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.